All right, let's take a look at the limited edition Little Box Effects and Grobert Effects, the One Chorus. Essentially this incredibly well built and readily available CE1 inspired chorus. What we're listening to is a Jennings Navigator with a little bit of kind of tone shaping and EQ from the Benson Preamp. Straight into the one here on the vibrato mode. What we're hearing is kind of a medium depth, low rate vibrato sound. It feels familiar. It's got that kind of nice swaying, pretty like triangle wave sort of approach. As we bring the rate up a little bit more, it becomes even more pronounced. I find this kind of sound seems to work the best with chords, just to take a nice shape and kind of give it a little bit more intrigue and movement. But as we kind of leave the rate high and bring the depth back a bit, kind of leaves a lot of space. It's that kind of thing where it definitely is doing the vibrato thing, but as the rate rises, because it kind of passes home bass more often, it almost feels more familiar, a little bit less abstracted from kind of your overall tone, while kind of adding a nice little flutter and just kind of interesting movement on the top end. We'll take a look at kind of some more driven and ambient tones with some of these settings in a minute. But jumping over to the chorus side of the pedal, it's got that absolutely iconic, just kind of subtle but swimming chorus sound. And while the vibrato kind of has two controls, the chorus is just controlled by intensity. So as you kind of bring that up, the overall kind of sway increases. And it gets pretty, maxed out. It starts to get very, very, intense and abstract to your original tone. Now, one thing we've talked about kind of the vibrato section and the chorus section, but the one area that we have yet to kind of touch on is the preamp. And for users of kind of the original, the lore of the CE1 preamp is legendary. It was not bypassable in the original. And so kind of where we've got this now, if we kind of turn this off, you can see that peak light is kind of showing up as I play. Even though the pedal is kind of a LED from the surface, you would assume is off. Actually, in order to have this bypass the way that you would expect modern pedals to, you have a switch available on the front panel for true bypass. And as you can hear, things got quieter, things got a little bit simpler as I bring that up. And so this preamp is essentially independent of the switch bypass if you want it to do that. And so what you're hearing is not peaking. That is just simply, I guess it is peaking in a sense, but it's not peaking the recording preamps. It's peaking the one's chorus preamp. And so You've got kind of like an always on kind of boost preamp drive if you want it there. And then they've been kind enough to add this high-low switch, which allows us to, kind of essentially correct for some of those gain ranges. So kind of, based on that, you're able to sort of set level a little bit more accurately and a little bit more fairly. But if you do want like kind of that all out, kind of, it becomes a drive pedal essentially. And then when you engage this, anyway, just a note on that kind of side of the pedal overall. But yeah, let's jump over into a few kind of more ambient and, kind of full board perspective sounds before we jump into, too much here. So let's get kind of our overall level back to where it was. Bring it up on this side a little bit. And let's just take this vibrato sound and add kind of delay in and kind of hear that for a second. Without the vibrato. Back in. So that preamp just adds this nice little edge of grit. It's something that's very, very subtle in the scheme, but it's a nice kind of touch of compression. It doesn't feel intrusive or destructive in any way, but it just feels like it kind of like adds like this comforting haze around the playing. But then that vibrato, as you can hear, that delay sound is quite sterile. But with that vibrato, which all things considered is not the most intense of modulations, is bringing a lot to that kind of just simple chorus and delay sound. But where this gets really fun for me is when you kind of bring the rate way down and kind of depth to where we started out. And it just kind of takes your guitar a little bit away from kind of its original tone. It's a huge resource on recordings that I've done to be able to sort of take things, away from, especially for ambient sections, away from kind of like the core tone you're using. So that's nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But then you kind of layer this in. It does a great job of like setting sections apart. There's so much in here in terms of settings that you can kind of set up that feel like just kind of always on, sort of like you would never be mad at it being there. Like there's no issue with that at all. Like that is something that I would get lost in often. It's easy to record, it's easy to mix. It feels like it almost like has this warmth and also like high cut or low cut to things that makes it feel very focused and guitar like. It just makes it sound like more of the guitar that I want to hear sometimes. And so definitely kind of really, really cool to pair it that way. But then for me, the magic for the ambient side of things really comes with the chorus. And for me, taking that same delay sound and adding just like another like light layer of reverb in there. just gorgeous. And then, you know, you can take it even further with that. It definitely starts to be a little bit more determining of vibe and tone the further up you kind of reach. But then, like, you know, what we haven't really experimented with on the chorus side is this, you know, very subtle. There's you know, it's I've been told in the past this is the wrong effect for that particular lick, but it definitely has, you know, things kind of reminiscent of that side of things. And so that was kind of the, you know, the other thing that I really was struck by this pedal was just kind of those, like, those, you know, very, very, like, staccato picking sections. So, you know, kicking on the Deep 6 compressor from Walrus. It's got, you know, it definitely kind of does that thing. I feel like it definitely wants to be a little bit more maxed out on volume. You know, a little bit, maybe a little bit less reverb. But it definitely has the ability to just kind of make those kind of picked ideas. Something about that just feels very, very close to me. It's like it kind of almost brings it right next to your ears. In a way that I find really fun. Yeah, to close out, let's just make some ambient.